I'm sure some of you have read a very special book. It's sort of a children's book, but a lot of adults love it. It's called Alice in Wonderland. Lewis Carroll wrote this book, I don't know, 150, 200 years ago. He wrote another book, Alice Through the Looking Glass. They're kind of surreal fantasy stories, and they're brilliant. But he wrote another book which is not so well known. It's called Sylvie and Bruno. Now, Sylvie and Bruno are two children, brother and sister. Sylvie's the older sister, Bruno's her little brother. And they are the children of the fairy queen, or king rather, the fairy king. Well, their mother was the fairy queen, but she died. So their father is the king of the fairies. So he can do magical stuff, and they live in a sort of magical world. But they also live in the normal world. And in this story, they go back and forth between these two worlds. Now, at one point, it's Sylvie's birthday. I think she was turning 10, something like that. Her little brother's 5 or 6. She's turning 10 years old, and she's there with the father, the fairy king. And all the fairies are gathered, and it's a big celebration because the king's daughter is having her birthday. And the fairy king offers Sylvie a gift. And he says, I'm going to give you a choice of 2 special gifts, and they're magical gifts. And you can choose just one of them. Now, these were magical amulets, so it's a kind of a, it's a magical symbol. But and you can pick one of them, and each of them has something written on it. So she read the first one, and it said, all will love Sylvie. It was written on it, and you could hang the amulet around your neck, so it's something to keep with her. She thought about them all, and she has to choose between the 2. Now think for a minute, if you were given such a choice, what would you choose? So Sylvie thought about this very deeply. Of course, she wanted everybody to love her. Everybody wants people to love them. But she also thought, maybe it would feel better if I loved everybody. And maybe some people will love me. So she chose that one. She chose the amulet that would give her the power to love all. And her father was very pleased. He said, Sylvie, this was a very wise choice, especially for someone so young. And I always remembered this story. I thought, okay, that felt right to me. It makes sense to me, but why? Why is it a greater thing for us to love all than to be loved by all? And what I concluded is that when we love others, we experience it directly because it's coming from inside of us. So we actually have a closer connection. We have a direct experience of this feeling of love. And of course, if you love all, then you love us. We experience indirectly. There are ways that people treat us or speak to us or just be with us that, okay, we can feel that, yeah, they probably love me, but it's not direct. We're not experiencing it so intimately. So that's one thing I thought. And also I thought, okay, there are some people that a lot of people love, but they're not necessarily happy. I mean, the famous singer Michael Jackson once said that, and he was millions of people loved him, probably hundreds of millions, world star. He once said, "I think I'm the loneliest person in the world." So being loved by a lot of people is not necessarily going to solve your problem of finding happiness and fulfillment. But people who seem to love all, the great saints and, yogis we hear about, and maybe Jesus or St. Francis or Buddha or these great people, they seem to lead pretty fulfilled lives. So to me, this seems much more interesting. I would definitely rather be Buddha than Michael Jackson. Let's put it that way. He had a bit of a sad life, really. Super talented, no doubt, but that's not really what I'm looking for. So I thought about that, and I hope you like Lewis Carroll's story. And if you haven't read, especially Alice Through the Looking Glass, it's an amazing, I guess it's a kind of spiritual story, but Sylvie and Bruno is really a deeply spiritual story. I do recommend it. Not that many people have read it. So that's all I'm going to tell you today. We might have some questions later.